What is man, if not a beast that hides behind civility? Strip away the robes of morality, and you will find fear, ambition, and hunger gnawing beneath the skin. Men swear loyalty, yet betray at the first whisper of gain. They praise virtue, yet bow to strength. And you, if you would rule, must ask yourself, will you be the prey who trusts in promises, or the predator who bends promises to his will? Power belongs not to the good, but to the ruthless who dare claim it. Listen closely, for what I tell you is what most would rather you never know. Men are deceived more easily than they care to admit. They look with their eyes, not with their minds, and they measure a man not by the substance of his actions, but by the mask he wears. This is why the wise ruler must never reveal the raw iron of his ambition openly. Instead, he cloaks it in velvet, speaking of justice, faith, and loyalty, while his true designs move silently beneath the surface. The world wishes to be comforted with illusions, and it will willingly submit to whoever can provide them with the appearance of virtue, even if behind that appearance lies a will sharp as a dagger. Consider how quickly men turn against the one who shows his true nature without disguise. The generous man who reveals his ambition is accused of greed. The bold man who speaks his intent is branded dangerous. The strong who does not temper his power with a facade of gentleness is called a tyrant. Yet the man who plays the part of humility, who speaks softly of duty and morality, is embraced as a protector, even while he sharpens his sword in the dark. Hypocrisy, when mastered, is not a vice but a weapon. It protects the hand that wields it. This is not deceit for sport, but necessity for survival. No man rises to power in a world of wolves by baring his throat. To stand above others requires that you bend appearances to your will. Appearances create trust, and trust creates the space in which you may act freely. When people believe you are virtuous, they will excuse your missteps, defend your name, and blind themselves to your hidden intentions. You may remove an enemy under the guise of justice, seize wealth under the pretense of reform, or betray an ally under the banner of necessity, and the people, seeing only the mask, will praise them. Performance to rule without a mask is to invite ruin. Men cannot endure the naked sight of power, for it terrifies them. But give them the image of compassion, of devotion to their well-being, and they will kneel, even as you bind their chains. The lion may frighten, but the fox deceives, and it is the fox who slips into the henhouse without struggle. Your task is to be both, but never let the lion roar too openly. If you learn this art, you will possess a freedom denied to others. You will move as a shadow through the expectations of men, shaping their beliefs while keeping your true intent concealed. Let them see piety in your words, mercy in your hands, and justice in your judgments, even as your heart calculates what must be done. In this way, you secure power not by brute force alone, but by the blindness of those who look upon you, and see only what you allow them to see. Appear virtuous, but act calculated. Love is a fragile bond, woven from hopes, emotions, and fickle desires. It endures only so long as it pleases those who feel it, and the moment it demands sacrifice, it begins to wither. Fear, however, is rooted in the marrow. It does not depend on goodwill or affection, but on the instinct for survival. A man may cease to love you when fortune changes, when rumors poison his mind, or when another promises him more. Yet he will not cease to fear the consequences of betrayal, so long as you have shown him that disobedience carries a cost too heavy to bear. Do not mistake this truth. I do not speak of cruelty for its own sake. A ruler who is hated will not endure. Hatred breeds conspiracies as surely as rot breeds worms. But fear, clean, sharp, disciplined fear, can live side by side with respect. The one who ensures his punishments are swift, just in appearance, and inevitable will find obedience where affection would have failed him. Men are ungrateful by nature, quick to forget kindness and slower still to repay it. Yet they never forget the hand that can strike them. Love is always a gift in power, but never a foundation. It wavers in storms. It changes with seasons. It is strongest when things are easy and dissolves when hardship arrives. Fear, by contrast, is a fortress. It endures when the treasury is empty, when the harvest fails, when enemies surround your gates. The subjects who once adored you may turn cold, but the fear you have instilled will keep them from raising their hand against you. In times of turmoil, it is fear that secures loyalty, not love. There is a subtle art here, to be feared without being despised. For hatred breeds rebellion, but fear without hatred binds men firmly. The ruler who walks this line must never touch what belongs to others, neither their women nor their property, for nothing stirs hatred more swiftly. Yet if he must shed blood, let it be done swiftly, decisively, and with the appearance of justice. For men accept punishment as long as it seems deserved, but they never forgive humiliation or theft. Remember that men respect strength more than kindness, and stability more than generosity. The ruler who relies on love alone must constantly feed it with favors, mercy, and indulgence until he is bled dry. The one who anchors his reign in fear commands loyalty without draining his coffers. Love asks you to serve your people. Fear demands that they serve you. Choose then which endures longer, which bends men to your will in times of both fortune and despair. For while love may comfort, fear compels, and when power is at stake, compulsion is worth more than comfort. Fear outlasts love. Mercy and fairness are sweet words, but they rarely guard a throne. The world admires justice in speech, yet it is power in action that determines survival. A ruler who hesitates, who spares his rivals out of compassion, is merely sowing the seeds of his own downfall. For enemies never rest. They plot in silence. They sharpen their blades in the dark, and they wait for the moment when your mercy has left you vulnerable. To believe that innocence or fairness will protect you is to walk unarmed into the teeth of wolves. When power is at stake, hesitation is death. If you know an enemy must one day be struck, strike him now while the chance is yours. Delay allows him to gather allies, to poison minds against you, and to prepare his own blow. In power, the first strike is often the final strike, and he who moves swiftly will always command the advantage. A single decisive act can prevent 1,000 smaller dangers. One ruthless decision today may save your throne tomorrow. This does not mean blood must flow needlessly. Violence should never be wanton or reckless, for cruelty without cause breeds hatred that cannot be contained. But when the survival of your rule demands it, act without hesitation, and act in such a way that no one doubts the strength of your hand. Men respect decisiveness more than fairness. They forgive the harsh ruler who protects his throne, but they never forgive the weak ruler who allows chaos to spread. Mercy, when given too freely, is not a virtue but a weakness. It invites betrayal by showing that betrayal will not be punished. The ruler who spares one traitor will soon face 10, for every man will believe he may transgress without consequence. Yet the ruler who makes an example of one will frighten 100 into obedience. The blade used wisely is not an instrument of cruelty, but of order. Understand this. Innocence does not shield anyone in the struggle for power. It is not the innocent who inherit kingdoms, but the strong, the cunning, and the decisive. If you would rule, you must be willing to soil your hands, for purity belongs in prayer halls, not in palaces. Men who cling to fairness above necessity are not remembered as rulers. They are remembered as victims. The throne is not preserved by kindness, nor by trust in the goodness of men. It is preserved by vigilance, by the readiness to destroy threats before they can rise, and by the resolve to do what others lack the will to do. Mercy may win hearts for a season, but it is fear and strength that secure dominion for generations. Power respects no innocence. Fortune does not smile on the timid. She is a force wild and unpredictable, a storm that sweeps away the weak and crowns only those who dare to seize her by force. Men imagine Fortune as a gentle lady who rewards patience, but in truth she is a capricious woman, bending only to those who are bold enough to master her. The ruler who waits for opportunity to present itself will find that it passes to another. The one who acts with daring, even in uncertainty, bends fortune to his own design. Hesitation is the poison of power. While the cautious man debates and calculates, the bold man has already struck, and by striking first, he writes the outcome of events. In the game of survival, delay is often more dangerous than error, for mistakes can sometimes be corrected, but inaction leaves you at the mercy of others. Better to act with ruthless resolve and force the world to adapt to your will than to sit idle and become prey to another's ambition. Do not think that fortune favors the just or the deserving. She favors only the strong. History remembers not the cautious man who waited, but the daring conqueror who grasped what others feared to touch. Great empires are not built by those who ponder endlessly, but by those who gamble everything on decisive moments. The bold man accepts risk as the price of power, while the cautious man hides behind excuses until the moment is lost forever. It is true that fortune shifts like the winds, and no man can control every storm. Yet strength of will can turn even misfortune into gain. A daring strike, though it may fail, earns respect and often terrifies rivals into retreat. A hesitant step, even if safe, invites aggression. Men are more inclined to follow the bold leader who dares everything than the timid one who protects everything. For boldness inspires loyalty, while timidity breeds contempt. Pity, hesitation, and excessive caution are the shackles of those destined to be ruled. To master fortune, one must meet her with audacity, unflinching resolve, and a readiness to risk what others cling to. Do not wait for her to smile upon you. Force her to submit. She may resist the meek, but she cannot resist the man who grasps her with both hands and bends her path to his will. Fortune favors the ruthless. Men do not see the truth of things. They see only what is shown to them. Their eyes are weak, their memory short, and their judgment clouded by the images placed before them. Thus, the one who masters perception holds a greater weapon than the one who commands armies. Power rests less in reality than in the story told about reality. If you can shape belief, you can shape obedience. If you can craft appearances, you can rule without lifting a sword. The people hunger for spectacle more than substance. They would rather be comforted by illusions than confronted with truths too bitter to bear. A ruler who understands this feeds them carefully chosen images, parades of strength, displays of generosity, words wrapped in the language of virtue. Behind the veil, his true designs may be ruthless, yet the people, enchanted by appearances, will believe themselves in the hands of a just protector. In this way, power grows not by what is, but by what is believed. Rumor, too, is a sharper blade than steel. A whisper planted in the right ear can spread like fire, consuming reputations, weakening rivals, and elevating your image without your hand ever being seen. If men hear that you are strong, they will not test your strength. If they hear that you are merciful, they will forgive your harshness. If they hear that you are inevitable, they will submit before resistance even begins. Words can conquer before armies march, and appearances can bind men stronger than chains. This is not deception for its own sake, but strategy. Men wish to believe, and they despise the one who strips away their illusions. Therefore, let them see only what you allow. If your rule is born of fear, let it be cloaked in justice. If your decisions are self-serving, let them be presented as sacrifices for the common good. In time, the perception will outweigh the truth itself, for men prefer the comfort of appearances to the discomfort of reality. A ruler who neglects this truth is vulnerable, for even great strength can be undone by a shift in public belief. The mightiest throne crumbles when its image is destroyed, yet the weakest throne may endure if it is cloaked in glory. To command perception is to command the minds of men, and once their minds are yours, their bodies will follow willingly. Control perception, and you control reality. Allies are useful, but they are never eternal. In the realm of power, loyalty is a mask worn only as long as it serves advantage. Today's friend may become tomorrow's rival, and the hand that swears fidelity in public may sharpen a dagger in private. To survive, one must understand that betrayal is not an accident of politics, but its very currency. The wise ruler does not fear it, he expects it, calculates it, and when necessary, practices it with precision. It is folly to bind yourself with sentiment when power is at stake. Gratitude fades quickly, ambition never sleeps. The man you raise today will one day dream of replacing you. To trust blindly is to place your life in another's hand, and there is no greater weakness than dependence. Therefore, honor alliances as long as they serve you, but abandon them the moment they no longer do. Fidelity to others is a luxury. Fidelity to your own survival is a necessity. This does not mean you must reveal your betrayals openly. On the contrary, let your treachery wear the disguise of necessity, or cloak it in the language of justice. If you discard an ally, let it appear that he betrayed you first. If you break a promise, let it be explained as a duty to the greater good. Men will condemn open betrayal, but they will accept it if they can be made to believe it was forced upon you. The dagger must strike cleanly, but the story must soothe the wound. Know, too, that betrayal used wisely strengthens your throne. By discarding a once-trusted ally at the right time, you remind all others that loyalty is not enough. They must also remain useful. Nothing sharpens obedience like the knowledge that allegiance is conditional. Fear of abandonment compels greater service than promises of reward. But betrayal must never be careless, for it is a dangerous weapon. If you betray too often, you will be seen as faithless and inspire conspiracies. If you betray without strategy, you will create enemies stronger than the allies you cast aside. Use it rarely, but use it decisively, so that none forgets what you are capable of. In this world, loyalty is fragile, but betrayal is eternal. Thrones are not won by keeping every promise, nor are they preserved by blind faith in others. They are won and kept by knowing when to cut ties, when to sacrifice pawns, and when to strike before you are struck. The ruler who clings to allies out of sentiment will be devoured by them. The one who wields betrayal as a weapon will endure. Betrayal is the currency of thrones.